we as a nation must focus on 4 important areas. 1, creating legal pathways. The Minister of Interior has mentioned many. Many migrants face strict policies that leave them with few options, often forcing them to take unsafe and illegal routes. Examples: during the Arab Spring Revolution, whether it was in Libya, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, Syria, many people decided to move, and we saw a lot of movement en masse, particularly to Europe. And Europe has to handle this situation. I believe why Germans are very interested in it, because it became a big area for migrants' destination, so they had to deal with it. Like us now, since we have become a transit for 2 routes, we'll have to deal with it. We need to open up legal migration options. One of them has been mentioned by the Minister of Labor, work agreements. In South Sudan, actually the 2 Sudans, since the 70s, we used to migrate to the Gulf as workers. And today we pride ourselves that we have contributed positively to development of the Emirates. It was at the time the governor there was a Sudanese, and many Sudanese went there to work and develop that region. So, but they were migrants who look for jobs. I'm happy that the Minister of Labor is having a bill. We hope it will come to the Council so that we pass it, and we would then have private employment agencies. We are now being faced by unemployment. We have a lot of graduates who are unemployed. If we have private employment agencies, then a good number of our young people will get access to employment elsewhere, whether it is in the Middle East or in Europe. A month ago, I read the Kenyans were exporting big number of skilled workforce. We could also do the same with time. Other legal options would be when you do family reunification, or when you do resettlement particularly for those who sought the refuge. Some countries took them for resettlement, and today they are diaspora. These legal migration options are important so that they will reduce risks and promote successful migration experiences. I could recall when we established the government, the first migrants that we had to deport were from Ethiopia, from Somalia. And this morning when I had an interaction with the Minister of Interior, she also informed me that they had just deported some Somalis. Now, this tells us that we have not yet come to terms with handling migrants, because the option may not be deportation. There could be other options. Because those who try to migrate are people with ambitions. They have ambitions for a better life, and therefore they leave their countries. And particularly if they are not refugees or internally displaced, but leave their peaceful country and they want to go elsewhere, it's because they want to go for greener pastures. And they could also be, mostly they are young, but also trying to have skills. So for us to build our migration governance system, we need also to promote ideas such as promoting social inclusion. Because if they come as a group and they are not going elsewhere, you need to integrate them into society. Because migrants bring cultural, social and economic benefits to our communities. It's vital to provide them with opportunities to integrate fully by investing in education, language training, and access to healthcare and social services. By creating inclusive policies, we enable migrants to contribute to society and minimize the chances of being marginalized. Professor, the Dean of Juba University was talking about the numbers of university lecturers, professors that have joined him. Because our system is one. The country is split into two, and rather than them migrating elsewhere, the best is to come to a system they know best. And particularly, Juba University was in Khartoum, Upper Nile University was in Khartoum, so they know the system. That is an advantage of migrants. And similarly, the Minister of Labour talked about doctors. The most skilled medical professions are in Juba now, and they came from Khartoum. So we should create a society where there will be no xenophobia in it against migrants, because we have had the experience of being refugees, or also many have gone for settlement elsewhere. I believe the Minister of Interior spent how many years in England? So, and I could recall in 2006, we decided even to create a desk for diasporans. We did not have the necessary skills. So we form committees in the US and in America to attract back the diasporans. So we should look at the migrants as, we should look positively at them. The third aspect which I think we should take care of is to protect migrant rights. Many migrants, especially those without legal status, face exploitation and abuse. And sometimes even those who have legal documents, when they are taken to another country, they get abused. And I believe for the migrants who come to South Sudan, we should avoid them being exploited or being abused. So in strengthening the legal rights and fighting against discrimination, it is essential to ensure that migration respects human dignity and international law. As a fourth issue which we must also appreciate is that migration also has an element of development. Migration can boost economic growth through either remittances, which are always sent back by those who have migrated, also sharing the skills, as I said, like the professors I mentioned, and sparking in innovation. By aligning migration policies with national development goals, we can maximize the benefits for both migrants and the communities that welcome them. I said that the diasporan are very key. We now know if you are they went as people who were desperate, but where they are, those who have done business are contributing to our economy. Those who are working are also supporting their families here, and they look back. So we should factor this in when we talk about diasporans. They can be source of development to us. But for us to deal with diasporans, we must cooperate with others. Because migration is a global issue. We cannot tackle it alone. We have to work together with our region, and we have to align our policies with the policies in the region. We need also to share the resources and respond collectively to migration challenges. In aligning policies, we acknowledge that there are differences in migration laws between us and our neighboring countries. I'm beginning to ask myself, have we produced a bill on migration? I think not yet. We have not done that, although in bits, in other legislations, whether it is in the police or in others, there are bits here and there. But we will need assistance so that we can have best practice on migration laws. Because we would not like to treat migrants badly. I have watched some films from North Africa, those who want to cross either from the Sub-Sahara, from Mali, going to Algeria. You see a desperate situation. But as human beings that conquer things, many make it from Mali to Algeria, and also from South Sudan through Darfur, either through Chad or straight to Libya and across to the Mediterranean. Many Sudanese from both sides, north or south, have gone through and have gone up to Europe. So we need to align our policies with the rest. Although recently, this year, Rwanda and UK made an agreement. Migrants that have reached the UK were transported to Rwanda for screening. I didn't understand why the British have to spend money to transport them to Rwanda and screen them and send them back to UK if they succeeded in it. But every country has its policies. But since this migration is a global issue, maybe it should be discussed. Once a person has reached a destination, why deport such a person? Unless they're criminals. Obviously, criminals have different law. So there are existing platforms and initiatives are available for dialogue, skill development, and joint efforts. We need to invest in these regional resources to ensure that they are effective and sustainable. I'm happy that the European Union has, do we call it a donation? Donation with a server that will strengthen our sharing of regional resources. The third point under the cooperation is addressing root causes of migration itself. People migrate looking for green pastures, that is employment, or if there is poverty, they migrate, or if they are forced by war, they migrate. In our country here, we have witnessed that people also migrate because of floods, climate change. The last governance forum, we spent much time talking about migration of pastoralists to greener pastures. And then we also question ourselves, are we handling it correctly? If the handling is to send them back where they came from, it's just like deportation, isn't it? Nearly the same, because even if it is within one country. So these are not good solutions in it. But we have to discuss them so that we get solutions. The data sharing is very important. Now that you have a server, then you'll get information about migrants, and hopefully, because there's somebody here looks like Ministry of Justice. When the summit looks like Ministry of Interior. So it is officers in the police, in the migration. But you look at the criminal aspects of migration. But I want us to look at the positive aspects of migration. And that's why I said, I'm not comfortable that the other guys who would look at differently are not there. Because the policies of migration are not designed only by the Ministry of Justice, of Interior, assisted by the Ministry of Justice, but all the stakeholders. So we hope we'll call on our other colleagues who have not attended to come to help you draw up a strategy which is not based on security alone, but based on other social aspects, which would include the Ministry of Gender, on the economic aspects, which would include the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and other ministries, wildlife, humanitarian, so that we can have a comprehensive strategy on migration. Well, ladies and gentlemen, building inclusive migration systems and fostering regional cooperation are essential goals. These goals demand vision, leadership, and commitment to placing human dignity at our hearts. Let me take this opportunity to strengthen our partnership, use our collective strengths, and find solutions that reflect our shared humanity. Together we can change the narrative around migration, turning it from a challenge into an opportunity for development, resilience, and actually migrants are very resilient people. They go through hell, and in the end they turn things around. That's why you have the American dream. So we can also have a dream here in South Sudan. We would have it. South Sudan.